Hello guys, Sujari speaking. Welcome to LJPCBM, episode number 874. And today we react to the very OddGamer Mickey Mousecapade. How to pronounce this game's name? Beyond this, beginning in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Thank you.
Okay. Title card, designed by Becky Hopkins. Continue on. And those of you wondering, Mickey Mouse Capade. Okay, continue on. Makes more sense. Anyway.
Hello, internet viewers. I'm the fairly OddGamer. As you can see, things have changed quite a bit the last time.
Wow. Okay, continue on.
New houses, but nevertheless, I am still here reviewing games for you guys. What's today's topic, you may ask? Well, let's talk about a well-known Disney icon that is Mickey Mouse.
Okay.
For Walt Disney himself, it all started with a mouse. For over 90 years, Mickey has become well known for being a cheerful and mischievous little guy ever since his first appearance in Steamboat Willie. Since then, he's appeared in multiple films as well as TV shows, which
How's Mouse, okay?
his accolades, making him the official mascot of the Walt Disney Company.
Okay.
With a character this popular, you expect to see video games based on him. And yes, he has appeared in tons of video games throughout his career. In fact, his first video game appearance goes all the way back in 1987 with Mickey Mousecapade for the NES.
Okay.
So how does it fare with the other Mickey games we have today? Let's take a look.
Okay.
First off, it's best to point out that the box says Mickey Mousecapade, but the title screen says Mickey Mouse. Why is that? Well, it might be based on a Famicom game.
Wait. Is that Alice in Wonderland? I love these characters because she's my friend, and I talked about this in the Jeff Critic. You know, that's just me, of course. Continue on.
Mickey Mouse Adventures in Wonderland, but I'm not quite sure exactly. So what's the plot of this game? Well, according to the game's manual, Mickey and Minnie are off on an adventure to find their mystery friend. And that's about it from what I can tell. And finally, the game is made by two well-known game developers, Hudson Soft from the Bomberman games, and Capcom in its first game collaboration with Disney lasting for an impressive 32 years.
Okay.
You know what else Mickey did in 1987? The Mickey Motion. It's
Good.
on an album called Mickey's Rock Around the Mouse, which features original songs based on the style of the 1950s.
Good.
When I talk about it, you may ask? I don't know. It was just something I wanted to point out. So without further ado, on to the game!
Wow.
Let's start off with the first level, Funhouse. Mickey and Minnie start off the game defenseless. No weapons, no projectiles, nothing. Well, that's good, except you have enemies in your path, and even touching an enemy makes you lose your health.
Makes sense.
You need a weapon to defeat these enemies. But how do you ask? Well, here's how. After climbing up a ladder, both Mickey and Minnie have to make their way to another room and open a chest revealing the weapon of the game, stars.
Okay.
Really? They kill enemies by throwing stars?
Wow.
In Rayman, you have a blaster, and that's it. In Ghosts and Goblins, you have a knife or a javelin or whatever weapon that pops up. Here, it's just stars. I thought I was playing Mickey Mousecapade, not Milan Secret Castle.
Another game behind Solve. Hang on, one moment. Another game made by Hudson Soft. Continue on.
But yes, both Mickey and Minnie defeat enemies by throwing stars at them. Not only that, but they can also find some hidden goodies when throwing stars at secret locations around each level. Some are good, like extra lives, duels that grant you more health, and a fairy that grants them invincibility. Others are bad, but more on that later. Some enemies in this level include spiders, snakes, moving chairs, owls, I think, broomsticks, and even a falling chandelier.
Wow!
Out of all the enemies in this game, there's one enemy that I cannot stand for the life of me. It's these pink crows that hide in hidden spots. If you find one, it swipes Minnie away from you. It wouldn't be a problem, except that Minnie has to be beside you at all times in order to complete the level. How do you find Minnie, you may ask? You have to find a hidden key that takes you to a special room with 4 Minnie statues. You only have a 25% chance of freeing Minnie. Otherwise, you have to find another key just to get another chance to free Minnie. Anyway, they both encounter their first boss, the Wizard. Looks more like a witch to me. Like everything else in this game, you would have the Wizard by, you guessed it, shooting stars until he's done for, and you'll know by lights flashing. Just don't play this game in the dark unless you want a seizure.
Wow.
When that's done, they open a chest that holds the key as they run all the way back to the start and unlock a door that allows both Mickey and Minnie to walk into a painting, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I want to point out right now this is the only level where you do that.
Good.
I'll talk about the other bosses when I get to them.
Okay.
Next level, the ocean. This brings up another reason why
Excuse
Mickey
me.
is not a good character in this game. If she at one point falls into a bottomless pit, Mickey dies as well. You're kidding, right? So Mickey cannot progress through any part of the game without Minnie by his side. That's pathetic. Anyway, both Mickey and Minnie have to traverse humongous waves and numerous enemies without falling in the water. By the way, is it just me, or that poop coming out of that bird?
Wow.
This is a family game, right?
Yeah.
After that, they come across a crocodile, which I assume is the one from Peter Pan.
Wow.
Like the wizard, they defeat it by shooting stars at it. But unlike the previous level, this level thankfully ends immediately after the boss's defeat.
Yeah.
Transition to the next level, the forest. In this level, both Mickey and Minnie have to travel through a correct set of doors, some of them hidden in trees, in order to progress through each of the 4 seasons. Spring, summer, winter, and autumn.
Okay.
Hey dude, did somebody say summer?
Wow.
Oh hey Alex, what's up? Nothing much. I happen to be a summer dog myself. I can tell. Which reminds me, how can you tell which secret door is the right one? I was about to get to that.
For spring and summer, all you do is simply walk through the second door in a tree.
In autumn, it's a bit different.
While you do have to find the second tree, you have to shoot stars at it in order to unlock the secret entrance to winter. And what do you do there? You have to complete one full lap around winter and then shoot at the first tree you see, unveiling the final secret entrance leading to a garden.
So a forest takes him to a garden.
Mm.
I have no idea what's going on. Neither do I. Anyway, I was just curious. Later, dude.
Okay.
They then come across the next boss, a snake. And no, it's not caught from the Jungle Book. After a few stars to the head, Mickey and Minnie make their way to the next level, the pirate ship.
Yeah.
This may be the shortest level in the whole game, consisting of only 4 screens. Just venture through the bow of the ship and come across Peg-Leg Pete. By the way, did I mention that every boss has their own projectiles? Because they do. From pink projectiles to bubbles to even sonars. Peg-Leg Pete has knives, which makes sense for a bad pirate. A few stars to the head later, and they make their way to the final level, the castle. Not only is it the hardest level in the entire game, but it's also the most cryptic. Why is that, you may ask? Let me explain. First off, you have to find a key in order to unlock the door to the final boss. However, you notice another door that might lead you to another location. You try desperately to get in, but there's just one problem. You can't enter the room without Minnie by your side.
Okay.
Wow, did I ever mention this game was difficult? Because this game is difficult.
Yes.
In fact, let's compare this game with some other Capcom games during that time. Ghosts and Goblins and the original Mega Man.
Okay.
Ghosts and Goblins was considered as one of the most, if not the most, difficult game in the NES library because of random weapon placement and the difficulty of having to defeat a lot of enemies. In the original Mega Man, it has knockback and random enemy locations. But other than that, it's pretty much it. The formula would later be implemented in the DuckTales games on the NES, which I talked about before. This game is linear in terms of progression, but some of the enemies may end up being difficult to encounter. Remember the enemies that act like the devils in Ghosts and Goblins? In this game, it's these flying mushrooms. At least, I think that's what they are. So how does this game compare to the 2 games that I mentioned? Well, it's not as brutal as Ghosts and Goblins, but it's about the same difficulty as the original Mega Man.
Okay.
So in other words, this game does have qualities that make it decent.
Makes
Let's go
sense.
back to the level. After finding the key, you can either fight the walrus for an extra life, or continue on if you're low on health.
The choices are yours.
Wow.
No.
Okay.
It turns out that Peg-Leg Pete is out for vengeance. Just do the same thing you did before, and you'll be on your way to find the real final boss behind the locked door guarded by the walrus. By the way, where's the carpenter at? Just shoot some stars at him, and you'll then encounter the final boss of the game, Maleficent from Sleeping Beauty. She shoots endless waves of bouncing projectiles at you with little to no rest at all, which makes it an extremely difficult boss battle. It makes sense because, after all, it is the final boss. So you have to pelt her with your projectiles during those tiny rest periods. After defeating Maleficent, you find out that the mystery friend is Alice. You know, from Alice in Wonderland. And
Wow,
that's
okay.
After. The end.
Wow.
Was this game as good as all the other Disney games Capcom made? Of course not.
I mean, it's not a bad-looking game for NES standards by all means. It looks nice, and some of the game's elements do match the style of Disney. The music is not that bad either, except that it gets repetitive every so often. As for the gameplay, Well, the controls are pretty stiff, and having Minnie with you at all times to progress through each level is just appalling to me. Not to mention, these crows are incredibly annoying because it results in having you find Minnie in these secret rooms.
Wow,
that I can never get my head around.
Makes sense.
So in other words, the gameplay is not very good.
Okay.
But on a brighter note, Capcom did make better Disney games, especially the ones based on shows from Disney Afternoon.
Hold on. Before we get to that, folks, let me search, let's say, the play game of Fairy OddGamer, okay? Let's see here. Fairy OddGamer. No. It's Adventure Island. Excuse me. Anyway. The remix, if you watch this for you, no. Hold on. Looking for a video game based on Adventure Island, not the... What are the companies made by? I'm not talking about the one in Florida. I'm talking about the one from, and if you watch this Florida, Billy, I'm talking about the one from the video game. Is it from Hudsoft, or is it from, It is from Hudsoft. Continue on.
Mickey Mousecapade is not a good game. In fact,
Okay.
it's maybe one of the most difficult games I've ever played. In fact, I'm surprised that AVGN hasn't reviewed this game yet.
Yeah, I'm surprised as well. And if you watch this remix, he needs to continue on.
But I'm sure he will. Soon.
Okay?
Now, if you excuse me, I have a Mickey motion to get to. I'm the Fairly Odd Gamer, and I wish you all good luck for the rest of your day or night, wherever you are.
Okay.
Take care, everyone.
Okay. Hang on. Got a message from Billy. I will, as soon as I am done taping 2 episodes of LJPCBM React. Stand by. Okay. Continue on. So that was Fairy OddGamer, Mickey Mousecapade. I'm sorry I got interrupted by Billy Mooney, who is sending me messages, and all of a sudden you just suddenly just feel like you have a Wii U or something like that, blah blah. Because by the way, Wii U is probably the worst console ever. And by the way, Billy, if you're watching this, get the Nintendo Switch. I highly recommend you get this, and not a good console anyway, but get the Nintendo Switch. You will not regret this. And what I think about this video, I think it was amazing. So far this video was a success. And that was the LJPCBM Reacts episode number 874. Hope you enjoy it. Stay tuned for the next one. It's going to be LJPCBM Reacts episode number 875, which is going to be Rocky Modern Life episode on Fairy OddGamer. Till next time, salute Joe and bye, peace out, baby. We can watch the guys episode. Till then, just out. See ya.
Given unto me this life I'll never take for granted, and given all the time I failed to really understand it, I never sought to meet the maker of reality, the one who gave the life that which is always happening, but I tried all the time. I ask, why me? Why was I the one to see things as I do under the moonlight and the sun? Perception